Okay, it says the stream's up. I'll start showing my screen and all that, just as usual. I gotta get it out there on the rest of the internet. So yes, the screen is intentionally black. You gotta give it a second. But good evening to everyone watching. Hope you're doing well. Almost ready. I got the chat. David, hello. How are you? Oh, dang it. I accidentally hit Elon's AI thing instead of the pictures button. He's trying to get me to buy stuff now. No, thank you, Elon. Okay. Stephen? Hello, how are you? Okay, we can start showing the screen now. You may be wondering what you are looking at here and how it relates to NASCAR or racing in general. It doesn't. It really doesn't at all, like in any way, shape, or form. Just to say straight up, it does not. It does not relate to anything racing wise. It's the Tarts Bowl. For those of you who do not know what the Tarts Bowl is, that's what I'm here to tell you about. It's my favorite bowl game of the year, where in college football, the postseason, you have the playoffs, which decides the championship. But if you win a minimum of 6 games, you get a postseason game. Well, the Tarts Bowl includes an ACC team, an Atlantic Coast Conference team, and a Big 12 team. And the winner this year got to pick a human-sized Pop-Tart to cook. So they have Pop-Tart mascots. Here we have Hot Fudge Sundae. Here's Wild Berry saluting their colleague or former colleague. And here, Dead, the sacrificed mascot, is Cinnamon Roll. And so the winning team gets to pick what flavor of Pop-Tart they want to sacrifice and what flavor of Pop-Tart they want to eat, essentially. And they pick Cinnamon Roll because apparently the coach's name is Cinnamon Roll. So yes, that is what you're looking at. You are looking at the sacrifice of a Pop-Tart named Cinnamon Roll. Rest in peace, Cinnamon Roll. You served your purpose. You're a Pop-Tart ghost now, if that's a thing. But yes, I wanted to tell everyone about the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Grant, thank you. We appreciate the donation to the channel. Or, once again, I really don't know what to call it, but that's what we're going to go with for now. We are very appreciative of Grant. If you do not know, he has been on the channel before. He is also a big video gamer. He plays the video games, so go to his channel and watch his video games. But yes, thank you, Grant. But yes, okay, we can move on from the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I just wanted to let everyone know. As you see in the title of this video, yes, we mentioned the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and we're talking about AI and NASCAR. Yes. All right, let's go to the direct quotes first. So it's more of a business thing. NASCAR is not going virtual or anything like that before people overreact potentially. But going through this article here, so you can't tell, Sports Business Journal, Adam Stern, one of the most trusted sources in NASCAR, I would say. So in terms of AI, Chat GPT, and all of that, no, they are not turning NASCAR into computer. But Steve O'Donnell said, I would say just around racing, the strategy that now goes into a race, how that applies to our formats, and of course the championship format of the future. I think AI can play a really big role in that. So of course then it mentions some of the AI. I gotta admit, I don't know much about AI. It seems a little scary to me. I'm probably overthinking. Chat GPT got really big like my last year in college and stuff. So I was aware of that, but now there's more stuff in terms of not just writing stuff for you, but predicting things, models, and all this other stuff. But as you can see, it says Chat GPT, OpenAI, Google's Gemini, Microsoft's Copilot. Couldn't tell you much about those. But obviously, these are really big name companies that have a lot of money to produce stuff, to have AI and that kind of thing. Okay. O'Donnell says he sees AI potentially playing a role in NASCAR's current off-season evaluation of whether to change the playoff format of the Cup Series as soon as 2025. While NASCAR could consult AI on the impact of playoff changes, that would come amid what the sanctioning body has already said is a broader effort to involve humans across the racing industry to craft what those potential changes could be. So, yes, if you look at it simply, if you don't think about it when you read this, you narrow your vision, you're going to see NASCAR's using AI to change the playoff format. They're going to put a Chat GPT in there, click the button, and then all of a sudden it's going to come up with this format, and that's what they're using. Not quite. I think that would be a little bit of an overreaction there. But what I think this is essentially saying is they've got humans who talk about this, and they clash heads, or they put all their brains together to figure things out, to throw things out there, to talk about what we can change, what we can't change. And maybe the AI is like a response or something, and it can tell you, statistically, the amount of people respond this way, or maybe you can tweak this part of the format, and the people at the table, let's say it's 10 people, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. I don't know. I don't know how AI works. I'm making things up here. That could be completely different to how it works. Anyways, let's move on. More O'Donnell quotes. When we created even the stages or playoff format years ago, you did that with the best data you had and best minds you had. But now being able to plug in and work with AI in terms of, okay, if you tweak the playoffs this way, what should we be watching out for, or how could that affect the sport? There's so much data and technology out there that you can throw into a model. I think it's going to be very helpful in looking at some predictive analysis of where the sport can go in the future, and then there's the whole business side of things too. So yeah, kind of like I was saying, like it's predicting things like outcomes and analyzing sorts of things. And obviously, in terms of the playoffs, everyone has ideas. It feels like I'm a big fan of just going back and doing a season-long format. Why do we have to complicate it? Why can't we just do it the old-fashioned way? And some people do enjoy this format, which good for them. You're allowed to. And some people enjoyed the 10-car chase, the 12-car chase. Some people like the concept of this format, but they want to tweak it to where it's not a one-race championship. Winning you're in is gone, but we still do the elimination thing. There's a lot of different ideas. So you try to find, I guess, what's the best response, the best to grow and improve NASCAR. I know that all these big major companies, sports, they have all these data and analytics of how their viewership grows, how to improve their product and stuff, and then also from a business side of advertisement, how to reach people, how to reach out to people who don't watch it. So there's a lot of data and analysis, and now we're throwing AI in there. It could get complicated. Joey Logano should have finished 17th at Nashville if it was only an overtime finish. I feel like we've talked about that race so much now. Who would have thought here, December 30th, 5:12 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone of the United States of America, we'd be talking about Nashville being one of the most impactful races of the season. But here we are, and that's how it went down. So, yeah, I guess in a sense, AI could be used. I mean, it's not going to be like running NASCAR. That would be absurd. They're not stupid. They're not going to let AI run NASCAR, but it's essentially a tool, a helping device. And once again, I I don't really know much about AI. I don't know enough about AI to properly tell you what's happening, to properly tell you, hey, this is good or this is bad or this is what it's going to do, because once again, not my area of expertise. Let's try something here. I just realized. What happens if I do this? Ooh. Oops. There we go. Okay. I decided to make the screen a little bit bigger, and we will shrink that down just a little tiny bit. And there you go. All right. Now we're to the part of the stream where I don't know what to talk about. So we're going to scroll through NASCAR.com, kind of like what we did last time, because it's the off season. NASCAR should be like F1 with their point system. Hey, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the whole like only half the field gets points. In F1, it makes a little bit more sense because the races are pretty standard and like unchaotic in a sense, and it's pretty normal results, and it rewards finishing up front. But in NASCAR, there's too much up and down. Like Kyle Larson, for example, he'll win 5-6 races a year. He'll be up in the top 3 of the points, but he also has I could show you how many DNFs he has. That's why we have this website here. He had, let's see here, 5 DNFs. So he would have 5 races without points. So from that aspect, maybe not the exact point system, but in terms of the season-long championship, I get what you're saying there. But yeah, I mean, like, look, did anyone have less than 2 DNFs? Elliott had 2. Suarez only had 2. Interesting. Busher 2. Hocevar 2. That's actually the most surprising out of all the guys I just listed there. Josh Berry, 10 DNFs. Oh, good grief. Cody, okay. Now we're to the part-timers. Cody Ware, Derek Kraus, Joey Hand, David Reagan, Kamui, Will Brown, Juan Pablo, Cam Waters. So, yeah. But in terms of the full-time guys, yeah, John Hunter only had 2. That's no, that's not John Hunter. That's Kaz Gralla. Kaz Gralla was basically a full-time guy. How many starts did he make? Does it not tell you? Okay, starts. There it is. Did Kaz Gralla start every race? No, he only did 24. I mean, he started 2/3 of the races. But there you go. Oh, boy. I know I've told you this before, the people who watch, but every like late November, early December, I usually have my championship pick made up, except for last year when I waited till the last minute. Not again this year. I got the championship pick decided, so do what you will with that information, I guess. But I hope the 7 people who are watching this, I hope you watched the video I put up yesterday. It took a while to edit and stuff just because it was so much stuff. Not that it was like insanely difficult or something, because all the stuff was already recorded except for the segment on, what's it called? All the stuff on the pictures. When I came on here and I showed you all the pictures I took, outside of that, it was pretty simple. I just had to cut things out. I had to go through all the footage through all the year. Earlier in the year, I put everything together and did like a race by race kind of vlog kind of thing. But I had so much left over from Darlington and then the late races in the season, like Vegas and Atlanta, that I said, screw it. Let's put it into a mega video and upload it and see what happens. So it's got like 500 something views right now, which I'm happy with. So I appreciate all of you who watched it. If you enjoyed it, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad you appreciated it. It can be a yearly tradition, depending on how many races I go to and stuff. But yeah, thought I would say something on that. Do I play F1 2024? No. My extent of gaming knowledge is the Wii. And random games on my phone. But yeah, no. NASCAR 2011 the game, Mario Kart, Mario Super Sluggers. I'll destroy you in that, but in terms of like Xbox, PlayStation, computer games, play Gran Turismo 7. Is it on the Wii? If not, then tough luck. I wish. Well, I do game. I just game by myself. I tried once to get the Wii to connect to my computer, but the piece you needed to connect it was really expensive, and I didn't feel like spending the money at the time. So maybe if I win the lottery, then that's what we'll do. I'll play Mario Kart on here. I don't know, but games in the modern era. I do play games in the modern era because the modern era is like post 1970, and we are post 1970. So, boom. That's all I got. Been looking at the standings long enough. Let's look at NASCAR's pictures. I showed you my picture. Here's some real pictures that will blow mine out of the water as an ad pops up. Oh God, this is horrifying. How do I get out of this? I almost clicked the X here for Twitter, but that would have been more horrifying. What is happening here? Okay, let's hit refresh. Okay, let's try this. NASCAR 2025. Be interested in the champion. Play Halo. I'll give you $100 per Halo. I don't know what that means. I'll take the $100 though. Just kidding. Yeah, that would involve a lot. So no for now. Maybe in the future. We're gonna say no for now. All right. There's a picture of Phoenix back in the spring. Pretty picture. There's the Clash at the Coliseum. O.J. Simpson's number is usually somewhere up here. Fun fact of the day. Daytona, the 500 or one of the duels. 500. Vegas, truck race. Raja Cruz's first win. Was there for that, by the way. That was fun. Oh, yes, all the tire shreds from Bristol. That was a fun race from the Cup race when all the tires were shredding off, and that was one of the best races of the year. But look at that. All those tire bits, those chunks. I mean, it's not like the marbles that you get, but... Grant, I hope you know I screenshotted that, so... Just gonna send that. Anyways, on to the next picture. Oh, that's that stuff they do with the tire. Check the wear and all that. I think that's what it's for. But... pretty picture. Driver intros. Richmond, it looks like. I think that's Richmond's logo. Yeah, the Toyota Owners 400. That looks like Larson, I think. Maybe. Eric Almirola probably won't be running the Daytona 500, but, you know, you never know these days when people come out of retirement. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's running part-time these days. Truex is probably coming back. Jeff Gordon came back that one time. Dale Jr. still runs Xfinity. Your hopes and dreams of an Eric Almirola Daytona 500 are not dead yet. Denny Hamlin winning the Daytona 500? That's very much a possibility because he's racing in the Daytona 500. We're never going to get to see this picture again because for some reason they decided to chop COTA in half. They decided to kill the back half of the Circuit of the Americas, eliminate 2 passing zones so we could get more laps. I still don't understand the decision. All I'm saying is this race better be like a 8.5 out of 10 or better, or I will be ranting because I cannot believe that they did that to COTA. They're not going to go back either, I don't think. If they're not going to go back to the full circuit, I mean, if the short track version doesn't work. But I'm upset that we don't have full COTA, and also we don't get this cool picture because this is at turn 10. But I am upset. SVG sweeping toad courses. Unfortunate typo there. Logano airborne a little bit. We won't get to see this picture again because it looks like it's coming up the hill at like turn 8 or 9. Tori said they probably chopped it because people nowadays have goldfish attention spans. I will say, like, COTA is like such a big track, and from turn 10 to turn 12, if you're sitting in turn 12, you have to wait a long time for the cars to be in front of you, or I guess really the whole lap. But the fact of the matter is, COTA was like designed for fans to see. And so if you're at turn 12, you see at least 60% of the track. Sitting there, I have it in my head. You can see like the top of the hill going into turn 1, down into turn 2. You lose them for about 5 seconds. And then you see turns 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you lose them at 10. You don't see anything down the hill until 11. You don't see the first half of the backstretch. You see the second half of the backstretch all the way to turn 16. That's the majority of the track that you get to see. I've loved that experience. And at turn 1, I sat there for the Xfinity race this year. You can see the entire front stretch. You can see turn 19. You can see turn 18. You lose it a little bit for like 16 and 17, but you can see turns like 14 and 15. And then you can see all the way to turn 2. So you see a little bit less, but you are on top of the home or the hill. Sorry, I saw the word home in the chat in it. But point being is that COTA is such a big track and you can see so much. And now they are chopping it in half. And less passing zones. Because that's what we need at the road courses that have already had struggles of races in this car, except for like 5 of them. Anyways, random rant. Did not expect to be doing that today, but here we are. You want to watch the race, stay home. You want the race atmosphere, then go to the track. It depends on the track. I get what you're saying, Tori, but there are some tracks that you can watch the race and get the race atmosphere. Like a lot of these ovals specifically, anything under 2.5 miles, you can see the entire track, I want to say. Like I went to Pocono, you couldn't see the entire track. You could see the majority of it. You could see 80% or whatever. Talladega, you can see a good chunk of the track depending on where you are. But outside of that, I mean, like Texas, Vegas, all the short tracks, obviously. Charlotte, you can see like the entire track. You can see the cars at any given second. So you get to see the racing. I mean, you might, if you don't have the radio in your ears, like the MRN, you might be a little bit confused, but in terms of, I get what you're saying. So like some of the road courses, you're not going to see the whole track. And that's when you're going to want to stay home and watch the race, I guess is what you're saying. But I don't know. I always like going to the racetrack. I don't have many complaints when I go there. I'm sure I've got reasons, but Martinsville, Hendrick 1, 2, 3, 4 in their special red schemes or whatever it was. Martin Truex Jr. winning the Daytona 500. That'd be funny. The first year he goes part-time, he wins the Daytona 500 after going 0 for 15, 0 for 17, 0 for 19, whatever it was. Yes, this finish at Texas. One of the many photo finishes we saw this year with Ryan Sieg and Sam Mayer. And this Sam Mayer ended up winning this race. That's the monster at Dover. Kansas Speedway at night. Yeah, the signs at night are really cool. They're like lit up and got lights. I don't know what kind of lights, if they're LED or whatever, but It's fancy. It's cool. Yeah, Chastain's truck victory at Darlington. Smashed a watermelon. Yeah, I talked about it yesterday, but it rained a lot that Friday at Darlington. And as I said yesterday, rain creates for some really cool pictures because of these reflections. And that's what we got here. A really cool picture. Pit Crew Challenge. Denny Hamlin's team won. Looks like, or is that Christopher Bell's? Christopher Bell's team. Sorry. They both run the Yahoo car. It gets confusing. Truck race at North Wilkesboro. Coke 600. Larson getting in. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Oof. Hey, I used this picture for a meme. After the Xfinity win at Sonoma for SVG, I got the meme on my phone. I've posted it on Twitter. I believe in you to go find it. Oh my. Sonoma pre-race air show. Looks dangerous, but there's a reason I don't fly planes. Is this Sonoma? Looks like Sonoma. Yeah. Cool picture through the trees. I wish they'd do Sonoma in the spring when they got all the grass and it's not dirt and desert looking. But then again, Sam Mayer burnout. Yes, when Tyler Reddick did the Hamburglar. I love how they had to specify left and right for which one is which. Reddick's tie isn't long enough, though. That's the problem. See, this one's like all the way down to his knees. Reddick's only goes to like his belly button. Other than that, pretty accurate. Hair color's the same. Got the mask and the hat. Cape. I'd say the accuracy's pretty good. First race at Iowa. Todd Gilliland at... Is this Iowa still? Can't really tell. Is that Eckes? That's quite the look. Someone needs to meme that. Hey, Chicago. Bowman after they won. Oh, that's a really cool picture. The sunset coming through Corey Himes. Like, I don't know what you call that. In between the gap between his arm and his hat. Or his face. With the trophy and the... It's kind of cool. It's a cool picture. Cole Custer winning. Brickyard 400 is back. I actually watched the Xfinity Chicago race again last night. I can admit the Chicago races are the only ones I ever rewatched. No, that's the thing. Chicago's gone 3 of 4. I'll say they've gone 3 of 4 on their races. Because the first Xfinity race, which really they've gone 3 of 3. Because that was cut short and they only ran like 25 laps or 20 laps or something. And it was a disaster. I don't remember anything about it other than it being over in like 20 laps. But all the other races, the first Cup race, it had the mix, both Cup races, they had the mixed weather with the dry tires versus the wet tires, the different strategies, the different contenders up front. We saw, in the first one, we saw Shane Van Gisbergen win. He had to beat Justin Haley to win. If you said those two names at the beginning of 2023 fighting for a road course win, 95% of the people would not know what that means. And the other 5% would think you were on drugs or something. And the other percent, which is not even mathematically possible, would maybe blindly throw some money at it and hope it sticks. And then the second Chicago street race had Alex Bowman versus Joey Hand, which eventually turned into Alex Bowman versus Tyler Reddick, which resulted in Reddick kind of choking there. But hey, it was a pretty good race. So Chicago, and then the Xfinity race this year was great between Larson and SVG, back and forth for the first half of that race. So yeah, I'd agree with you. Chicago's had some great races, but Man, there's been some other great races this year. I could list them all. Both Darlington races were great in the Cup Series. The Kansas race in the spring was great. The Atlanta race, both Atlanta races, I would say were great. Let's see here. I thought the Texas race was pretty solid. I'm not willing to call it great, but I thought it was solid. Let me think. What other races were good? Martinsville Fall race, despite the chaos at the end, despite the stupidity that I'm still a little bit upset about, it was a solid race. Bristol Spring was a great race. Had a lot of great races this year. Oh, that's a cool shot. Truex's car and the reflection of his sunglasses. I think that was Darlington because that's the patriotic paint scheme or whatever. Connor Zilich's Xfinity win at Watkins Glen. Dale Jr. at Bristol. Chastain's Kansas win in Cup. Yes, the 4 wide at Talladega. That was pretty cool. I know a lot of people got pissed off and whatever because of the fuel saving and whatever, but it's still pretty cool. You can't deny 4 wide without wrecking the field. It's kind of cool. I would say at least. Mayer, what did he win again? The Roval. Oh, yes. How could I forget? The whole Parker Kligerman, the caution was called really late. Reddick after the Homestead win. The confrontation at Martinsville that ended up being nothing between, what was it? Was it Taylor Gray? Yeah, Taylor Gray and Christian Eckes. Nothing ever happened with that, as 90% of the people expected. Oh, yes. The slap punch. What did he do? Like, he came for the slap and he like closed as he got closer and like kind of 3-finger slap, 2-finger knuckle in Cole Custer's face. Yes, how could I forget? This picture makes it look like some comedy routine, like some way back in like the 1920s or something when they did those comedy skits, the silent films, like the three Stooges or something. That's what this looks like here, because you got Chandler Smith throwing like a weird punch and he kind of is like standing awkwardly, and you got Cole Custer just dramatically fake, kind of like reacting like this. And then after, Custer just kind of stands up and he's like, well, he didn't even hit me. I didn't feel anything. That was a terrible shot. As Chandler Smith just, I cannot believe how bad that slunch, that plap, whatever we're going to call that thing. If I accidentally just said bad words, I apologize. Slap punch mix. That was pretty comical. Denny Hamlin after that practice crash. Blaney won at Martinsville again. Truex, is this before or after his final race? This looks like it was after. Majeski with the championship trophy. With the trophy again. Reflection there. Kind of, yep. Allgaier, and I think that's like is that his dad? I can't remember if that's his dad or the Brandt guy. Oh, it's his dad. I guess I could have gone to the caption. Yes, that's his dad. Oh, more trophy kissing. Joey Logano, his team, Roger Penske, his family, and looks like some Shell Pennzoil people, maybe? I don't know. But then again, everyone's wearing the Shell Pennzoil stuff, so maybe that's all Penske people. I know he's holding up 3 fingers here, but the way his hand is angled, it looks like he's only holding up 2. Straighten it out for the 3. Yeah. Wow, that's it. That's all the pictures there. We still got a lot of time to go in the stream, people. But yes, the 2024 NASCAR season. What a time to be alive. Let's see. The best races of the 2024 season. Yeah, Suarez's win. That was number one. I mean, it was top three. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to think if it was number one. We'll reevaluate. We'll reevaluate this list. Number one, Atlanta. Actually, just as we go, I'll just say, did this race top it or not? And I want to hear from you. What are your top races of the year? Like, what is your number one? What was the best race this year? I think this is Cup, so let's keep it exclusive to Cup. Best Cup races this year. Number one, Atlanta. That is currently the list. Number two, Kansas. Oh, man. Okay. All right. This is tough. God. Because Atlanta was great. And it had a great finish. It was a great race. 3 wide. It didn't get dirty. No one started wrecking each other for the win. But Kansas was natural. Like, I hate to use this word, but it was natural. Like, Atlanta's a super speedway, and you can expect somewhat of that stuff. But Atlanta's a mile and a half. And overall, both races were insanely good. Like, nothing bad I can say about either of them, honestly. Kansas, so David says Kansas. Kansas was the Larson and Ross battle. Yeah, I think in the Kansas spring race, Larson and Chastain swapped the lead 6 or 7 times in stage 1 before obviously Larson ended up winning the race. But I think I'm going to go with Kansas just because of the type of racing. I prefer the kind of pure style, I guess. I don't, once again, maybe that's not the right word, but I just really like the mile and a half versus the super speedway racing. So I'm going to go Kansas 1. I'll go Atlanta 2. I'm not going to dock Atlanta like 5 spots. So I'm going to disagree with this list. David disagrees with this list, but I'm going to go Kansas Spring as number 1, Atlanta number 2. I think Homestead's number 3. I think that's safe to say. Great race, kind of very similar to Kansas in a sense. Great finish like Kansas. But there were just a few moments in this race where it was like, okay. I think the biggest appeal was the playoff situation. Not the biggest appeal, but you had that story looming in your head. So I'll go Homestead 3. I'll fully agree with that on the list. Coke 0400. Yeah, it was a good race. Obviously a thrilling ending. A shock winner. I'll reevaluate that in a minute. Talladega Fall. You had all that 4 wide stuff going on. It was a solid race, but it's not in my top 5. I would not put it in my top 5. Watkins Glen. I'd put Watkins Glen above that Talladega race for sure. Different strategies. The tires did wear a little bit, which was nice, and you had a thrilling finish, much like every one of these finishes that think about this. 1 photo finish, 2 photo finish, last lap pass, so that's 3. Upset winner and a last lap pass. Photo finish here. Last lap pass. That's the first 6 on the list. That's 1/6 of the schedule had a last lap finish or photo finish. And we're not even number 7 on this list. All right, so this was not a last lap pass. This was not a photo finish, but it was a thrilling finish between Reddick and Buescher. And eventually the winner, Keselowski. Because Reddick, first of all, Reddick and Keselowski were having a great battle. They used each other up a little bit too much. They didn't wreck each other. They didn't cut each other's tires, but it allowed Chris Buescher to swing them both 3 wide, fly by them, and then Reddick finally got by Keselowski, and it was down to these two. Reddick oversends it, essentially wrecks himself and Buescher, kills both of their days, And going on to win the race is Keselowski. That was a thrilling finish. Now, it wasn't a last lap, but I would put this ahead of that Talladega race. But not quite ahead of the other ones mentioned. Bristol, that I would say this is in my top 5 for sure. It's above Darlington. It's above Watkins Glen. It's above Talladega. I'd even put it above the Coke 600 or 400, Coke Zero 400. So right now my list would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I got them all. Yeah. Daytona 500. Okay. I feel similar about this one to the way I feel about the Yellowwood one. It was a solid race. It had some great moments in it, but I think the controversial ending kind of soured this race for people. I will put it above Talladega, though, because I thought the overall race was better, if I remember correctly. Southern 500, this was a great race. It had its moments, though, where Larson was just obliterating the field. I think the biggest kind of, similar to Homestead, you had that playoff thing just kind of looming in your head. Like when Briscoe's leading, it completely changes the points. When Larson's leading, it does this to the points. Buescher versus Bubba, and then Briscoe ends up winning anyways. It was a fantastic final, 50 laps of the race, I would say. But still a solid race. So that's the top 10. Okay, so let's rank these. Top 10. Harrison Burton's win was mind-blowing. Yeah, that's one phrase I'd use. It was mind-blowing. So I'll go finalist. 1, 2, 3. So I agree with 1 placement. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, actually, take that back. This is 8. This is 9. And then this is 10. Talladega. But I am curious. David said, what did you say, David? David said Kansas was the best race. I said Kansas was the best race. And it can be, if you think a race that wasn't listed here was the best race, like if you loved Texas, or if you loved Phoenix, or if you loved Atlanta Fall, or if you loved, Nashville or Vegas, then yeah, shoot a comment. Say, hey, that was better than all the ones listed. We still got some time. Oh, yeah. $2025 for NASCAR should be interesting. I mean, yeah, I'd argue every year. You're going to have races that are really good. You're going to have some that aren't. I think the big issue right now, or the big kind of cloud, is the playoffs, because we've had negativity around this format before, but this is like an all-time high in negativity, which is kind of an oxymoron, I feel like. So I think in terms of the actual racing, yes, there's a lot to look forward to. The 1.5 miles are still doing great. Atlanta has aged extremely well. The super speedway package is kind of a mixed bag right now in terms of what people think, but I feel like we still had a couple of really good races this year, so we got that to look forward to. And we're making I say this was the biggest gain we made on the short tracks and road courses this year, because they actually made changes to the tires. Like Martinsville in the fall was good. Bristol in the spring was great. Might have been a fluke in terms of the tire, but it was great. Watkins Glen was great. We had the option tire at Richmond, which kind of added a little bit of a spice to it. So, yeah, I think from every aspect, but I'd agree with the general public that the playoffs kind of clouds everything else because that's all everyone thinks about is the championship and all that. And we can't enjoy anything anymore without that thought in mind. So, yeah. Tyler Reddick through the years. Oh boy, this should be interesting. It's 2023. Oh my goodness. That's a look. Tyler Reddick. 2013 in the Truck Series. All right, 2015. 2016. All right, he's looking a little bit more Tyler Reddick-like here. I mean, not that he didn't before, but you know, I really don't know how else to put it. But part-time Xfinity schedule, JRM, RCR. This is about to get tough. I forgot that he ran for RCR in the 31 in 2019. Kind of forgot about that. Yes. I forgot. I also kind of forgot he ran the 8 back in 2020. I thought he started in 21 for some reason. Because he took over. It was Hemrick. Hemrick got like 1 year in the 8. He had a random pole in 2019. And then he got booted. First win, Road America. First win with Michael Jordan in attendance. Oh, there it is again. Michael Jordan in attendance to see the Championship 4 clinched. First Championship 4 appearance. Oh, we get to do this for Christopher Bell now. 2015, the Trucks. More Trucks. Is this championship? Did he win the championship? Yeah, he did. Xfinity. He looks the exact same. Like Reddick, you could see there was a big difference in how he looked, but Bell looks the exact same. First Cup win. 200th win. That got overshadowed because of Chastain's Hail Melon. Bristol Dirt win. Homestead 23. Phoenix 24. Coke 600. New Hampshire. Oh, now we're going to Larson. Larson kind of looks the same too, just not a beard anymore in this one or back then. Truck Series. ARCA. Xfinity. I think this was the year that he flipped into the catch fence at Daytona. Controversies next year. Yeah, I mean, you can't even predict controversy because, like, who would have predicted this year that it would have been Chris Buescher versus Tyler Reddick, Austin Dillon getting kicked out of the playoffs for wrecking Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, or two teams suing NASCAR? We're back to that point. Okay, truck win for Larson. Ah, yes, when he was in the 42. Yeah, it's first Xfinity win. I forgot he was a part of that Rolex 24. First Cup win. Dover 2019. Hendrick. Ganassi. Hendrick. Championship. Banquet 2022. Oh, I don't even know where this is. Maybe Watkins Glen. I think that's the bowling, the Go Bowling or whatever. Kansas, yes, Hamlin versus Larson. All-Star win. That's the Kansas win from this year. Indianapolis 500. And back at Indianapolis in Cup. Bristol Night Race. Forgot he led so many laps in that race. And the championship 4. And we're to the end. Wow. Well, that's all I got. Last stream of 2024. Not much to talk about, but I guess we tried to do something here. So, final stream of the year. I appreciate the support all year long, during the season, during the off season, whatever it may be. 2025 is 2 days away. Really like a day and a quarter away. But yes, I will start updating you all on 2025 here soon. We'll start to roll into 2025 NASCAR stuff. I don't like doing like 2025 stuff in 2024, So once that calendar hits 2025, we can start looking at paint schemes. We can start talking about some other stuff. But January we'll be rolling a little bit quicker, I guess is one way to put it. But got some announcements and whatnot, and I'll try to fully figure out what I'm doing. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and see you guys in 2020.